And hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unslaved. Very happy to be back with you. And we have our good friend Caleb joining us once again. Caleb, how you been doing? So good to see you. I hear we're talking about Orgone today. This will be fascinating. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. I'm doing pretty good. Good pre-interview technical sorting that we did, but ready to roll now. So.
Good man. Good man. Well, hey, name of the game. And I hear you've been working on a lot of projects. You've been working with Yoke, who is another regular guest on the show. You had a few shout outs for some of the projects you guys have been working on.
Yeah, I'd like to throw a few shout outs there for Yoke Hagstrom and the Novocastrian. And I don't know if you're able to show the channels, but that's some interviews I've been doing with these guys. That's a Novocastrian, and we've been doing some really awesome stuff over there. It's mostly him who's doing all of the work, but it's been really fun. Go check that out. He has a good series as well called The Fall of Loki. And Yoke Hagstrom, been working with him. It's been really good. Really good to work with these guys.
Well, that's great because they have phenomenal research as well. So pairing up both of you guys, that's got to be awesome. And you've been working on this concept of orgone energy. And I know you've got some slides, won't be able to actually show them, but it's basically a lot of information looking into the work of Wilhelm Reich and some others that we've spoken about here, the soma, the somatic intelligence, orgone. So what would be the best way to open up with that and introduce that?
Well, Wilhelm Reich died in 1955, if I'm remembering correctly. So what happened after he died, well, the 60s happened. And when you look back at his work, he was really concerned about the authoritarianism as being a major problem for healthy functioning and the way, people having to live under the authoritarian society was a problem. The government actually banned all of his books and outlawed his books, threw him in federal prison, and he died in prison. Then there's another thing I want to draw attention to. It's my theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but after Wilhelm Reich died, you had this guy named Alfred Kinsey pop up. And if you look at a picture of him and a picture of Reich, they've got like the same sort of like fuzzy hair. Now, I don't know if there's anything to it or not, but I wouldn't put it past them to throw a guy like Alfred Kinsey out into the public as a mockery to Wilhelm Reich in a way, because they were both researching sexual matters, but the way they were doing it was so much different. Alfred Kinsey was researching child sexuality, which also, Wilhelm Reich was also investigating as well. But it was not even the same whatsoever.
Yeah, wasn't Kinsey, he's basically one of the grandfathers of the radical left, many elements of the radical left, of the gender fluidity concepts, the transgender, the sexual, like they believe the sexual revolution started with Kinsey.
Yeah, I can't recall the details, but that's about the gist of it. And when you really look at his methods, they weren't even scientific. He was going towards these conclusions. So you have that to poison the perception of the true investigations that were going on with Wilhelm Reich.
And that's interesting. Sorry to jump in again. This is really interesting what you're saying, because I've seen other researchers in our field conflate the two and accuse Reich of being a part of the whole encouragement of sexual promiscuity and pedophilia and all of that. And so what you're saying here is what I know to be true as well, is that they basically did an attack on Reich's work to conflate the two. So when people hear about Wilhelm Reich, they think, oh, we're talking like your right-wing conservatives in America. They'll think, oh, we're talking about all that same stuff that came out of Alfred Kinsey, when in fact, it's total disinformation, because that's nothing like what Reich was really talking about.
Well, that seems to confirm what I was just saying, which I was not aware that people were actually doing that. But what I noticed several years ago was that it's like they were talking about the same thing, but obviously Alfred Kinsey came after, but he had like that same frizzy hair. It's like they got rid of Reich and then put this other guy out with the same hairstyle, the same hairdo, right? Talking about the same thing, because they knew that that would contaminate the perception of people. But all that aside, there's been different people. Took a good long while, I'd say a few decades after Reich's death, before some genuine, earnest people started to begin to actually pick his work back up again. You have the Wilhelm Reich Institute, I think it's called, that actually runs his former laboratory, which is in Rangeley, Maine, and it's actually on the 45th parallel. So literally halfway between the equator and the North Pole. That's where Reich chose to put his laboratory and conduct his experiments. I don't know what the reason is, but it's very interesting that he chose the exact midpoint, between the North Pole and the equator. So they opened that back up as a museum, and you can go check out his laboratory now. Towards the end days, he was there at the laboratory working on experiments with orgone and radiation. So he obtained some samples of radium, which were highly radioactive, and he was putting those inside of the orgone boxes to see how they react. And he never finished that research, but he thought that somehow orgone would be able to cancel out the destructive radiation energy. But you have James DeMaio as well, who has picked up on Reich's work, and he focuses a lot on the cloud busters and climate change and the Sahara Desert, which he attributes to orgone energy changes, and different deserts. Deserts are, according to him, a result of orgone energy changes, meteorology. So he focuses on that. But what we're going to focus on today is the American College of Orgonomy. And you can go to orgonomy.org and check them out. This is a college of psychiatrists who have really focused in on the medical orgonomy clinical studies that Reich did. Also, I should mention Alexander Lowen, which I know a lot of people are aware of Alexander Lowen, who was a colleague of Wilhelm Reich and created Lowen therapy, Alexander Lowen, which is similar. So when you look at, I'll say that what the American College of Orgonomy does in terms of therapy is more advanced than what Alexander Lowen does. I'm sure there's people in the audience who have read some of Alexander Lowen's books, and what he does is great and everything. But I will state boldly that the American College of Orgonomy, they're more advanced in terms of looking at armor, psychosomatic armor, and how to alleviate that. They're much more sophisticated. So if you go to orgonomy.org, go to the bottom, click on publications. They actually have a publication that's called the Journal of Orgonomy, and you can get copies, but on their website, they've provided a list of PDFs, which are just, it's a big list, but it's a small sampling of free material that you can read. And I do highly recommend everybody go over there and check it out and read into it, dig deep into it, read it again, read it again. It's so useful and it's so pertinent. And it's a good stepping stone into psychology because it's so straightforward and it's not abstract whatsoever. It's very straightforward, very sophisticated, and takes you really deep as you could probably go without being abstract whatsoever. It's just straightforward as you can get. And what we're getting into today comes from some of those articles that are there for free for people to read on the website. And I've been dipping into that resource for over 10 years because it's just so valuable. I go there every so often and sort of refresh myself on the material. It's very advanced.
And you've been down there physically, haven't you, at the place?
I actually did sign up for some sessions with them. It's very expensive. I paid like $140 for one session, 30-minute sessions, and I think I had like 6 sessions altogether. So near $1,000 for like a total of 3 hours. But it's you think the price is bad? There's anyone looking for help, maybe consider it. It's advanced, it's the concept of armor, how a person gets to be armored. How do you resolve that? Yeah.
And you should recommend also, I always put links below. One writer, DeMio is good. Charles Konia, he's written 2 books. He's a Reichian, very good books, easy to understand. And I didn't even think about it until David mentioned The Left Wing, because Charles Konia is take on, because Reich's work is vast, as you know. He actually does address the political. It's very similar to Kerry Bolton's book,